Gabriel Basso was recently on Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy said, "Hey, your fans noticed that you have recently deleted your Instagram." And he said, "Yeah, I have. I'm tired of everybody else's business being my business." And what he's talking about is the difference between living vicariously, meaning through other people, and living actually. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about living actually, how to change your experience with the life that you have, because this is primarily through our relationship to various things. So we all have a relationship with money, we have a relationship with food, we have a relationship with adventure, we have a relationship with expectation. And because of things that may have happened in the past that were disappointing or heartbreaking, a lot of us are like, yeah, I'm good on that. I've been there, tried that. I'm cool with that. But the beauty of life is that at any given moment, you can have a new experience. So if you've gotten your heart broken in the past, you can have a new experience with love. If you've gotten into financial trouble, you can have a new experience and a new relationship with money. And so one of the questions that I asked at the top of the year is, what do I want to experience this year? And oh my goodness, it's probably the question that I am the most excited about, because not only are there things that I'm looking forward to, but it has given me the power to shape my experience, to shape the relationship, to shape my positionality in a world of fires raging everywhere, because fires are absolutely raging everywhere. But I get to shape my experience in it, and you can too. Keep watching. Hello, I'm Dr. Shantae, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am an experienced girly. That is my clear bias. If you gave me $5,000, there are people that would take that money and go buy some clothes, some shoes, a handbag, some material artifact. I would take that money and book the first flight out to any number of places that are on my own long list of places that I want to visit and things I want to experience. Experience for me has really elevated the quality of life, and our quality of life is largely based on what we experience. And it's not just what we experience with respect to other people, but it's also what we allow ourselves to experience. When I was growing up, we did not vacation, we did not summer. Okay, we did not have relatives down south, and I was just gonna go spend a summer with Big Mama. If we did anything like, so I'm born and raised in Chicago, like a summer activity for us was like going to Six Flags Great America. That was it. And so it was this very, and that was the reality of our circumstances. You know, we didn't have money like that. My mama had me when she was 18. And so, you know, we were not balling out of control. We did not come from money. I'm from the south side of Chicago, Inglewood, no good, 70th and Troop. Hello. So I did not come from this privileged background. And so part of that, a lot of that is what drives me to seek experiences. And I think that a lot of times we allow the past to really shape the present in some ways as a motivator to get us to do all the things that, you know, we never got a chance to do, but sometimes in ways that keep us stuck, where it's like, well, I don't know nothing about that, and people like me don't do that sort of thing, or I never thought that that was a possibility for me. But it is. It can be. Like, the beauty of life is that it's a canvas, right? And you have the brush and you have the paints. And while it may not take you to faraway places like Zanzibar, it can definitely shape the quality of your experiences right in your backyard. And so I want to give you some examples of how this has played out in my life in hopes that it will inspire and motivate you to do the same thing in yours. So last year, I wanted to experience sports that I had not experienced before, just to say that I had tried it. And so I intentionally kind of plotted my course to attend tennis matches in person and to attend a rugby match in person. Come to find out, Chicago has its own rugby league, the Chicago Hounds, and now I'm a season ticket holder. I loved the experience. The experience of sport is very much like American football, with some caveats, obviously, but it was one of those things where I said, this was not a part of my life. This was not a part of my childhood. I don't have a community. I don't have friends that watch the sport. And what it created was an entryway for me to connect with other people who did like the sport, for me to connect with other people who did find value in that. And sometimes we are so limited in our friendships. We are limited in our networks. We are limited in our sphere of influence by what we don't allow ourselves to experience. And so just by putting myself in the rugby pitch allowed me to meet a bunch of really cool people to the point where now I am a season ticket holder for our local rugby league. Go Chicago Hounds. Something else was tennis. And so I have been a spectator of tennis exclusively through the television for the entirety of my whole life. My grandmother was a huge tennis fan, and I watched many hours of a match with her. However, there's nothing like seeing it up close. That energy. And so the first time that I got to experience this, shout out, I actually will do a whole separate video about my experience going to the Cincinnati Open. Cincinnati Open is probably one of the best kept secrets in tennis for people who are just casual followers of the sport. Because if you're just a casual follower of the sport, then you're only watching the Grand Slams, you know, so the Australian Open, the US Open, the French Open, and, oh Lord, I'm forgetting, Wimbledon, right? But the Cincinnati Open happens every August. It's one of the most long-standing tennis matches. It's very well respected. It is one of the ranked matches that professionals use to kind of build their ranking and their profile. And it is crazy affordable. Like, it's crazy affordable. Tennis can be exorbitant because in the United States of America, everything is okay. But it also can be accessible if you know where to look. And so I experienced my first tennis match in Cincinnati, and a time was had. First of all, it's a beautiful facility. They just renovated it. And the energy, the food, it's such a good time. And I was like, I would have never come close to the joy that I was experiencing had I just been sitting on my couch vicariously scrolling through and watching the highlight reel through somebody else's vantage point. When you step out into the arena of experience, you allow yourself to have your own experiences, to shape your own impressions, to begin to change the fabric of what it means to live and to live fully. And so this year on my bucket list of things that I'd like to experience, hockey game. I've never been to a hockey game, which is crazy because I live in a major city and we got the Chicago Blackhawks and the Chicago Wolves, which is not a part of the NHL, but still very much a team. And I haven't gone. So I am making a point to go this year. And I would like to experience skiing. I have never been on a pair of skis. You know, you don't see a whole lot of black people in the Winter Olympics. You know, we tend to be summer melanin. This is where we get, you know, our time to shine. And so this year I plan to be on a pair of skis. Now, skiing is not cheap. It can definitely be very pricey. But depending on where you live, you can go to some local places. You don't have to go to these big fancy resorts. You can go locally. So for example, in Chicago, you can go to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, which is maybe about 80 miles away, and have a skiing experience there. Or you can go to Michigan. So you can kind of keep it local, but still have the opportunity to experience what it's like. And you don't have to love it, but you can form your own impressions about it. You can have an experience with it. And so for those of you who are kind of just getting bored of the scrolling and getting bored of the same old, the dopamine hit is not hitting the way that it used to, I think that it is time to pivot out of this vicarious vantage point and get into this authentic authentically experiencing what it is to live a full and meaningful life. The other part of this is that experience is not just about what you want to do, but it's also how you want to feel. Okay. So I want to know what it feels like to be represented by an agency. So one of the things I'm doing this year is querying literary agents for my book. I have a book that's in the works and I have a proposal that I've put together, and I want to experience what it is to have agency for somebody out there that is rooting for me, that is working in my interest to further my career. So I want to experience that. I want to experience whimsy. I want to experience whimsy. I've taken down most of my Christmas decorations, but I will see if I can put a picture up. But my favorite holiday decoration this year was lanterns. It was paper lanterns that were in the shape of like stars and snowflakes, and it just added such a cozy, whimsical vibe to a cold and dark and wintry and blustery space. And so I'm always looking for opportunities to incorporate a sense of whimsy into my life, because things are very serious and things are very, child, just one casual glance at the news and there's fires raging everywhere. So wanting to experience whimsy is a way to counteract the effects of all of the negativity that is happening around me. I want to experience laughter this year, just bone deep, from the belly laughter. And I also want to experience what it is to be deeply, uh-oh. I'm sitting up here like, what the heck is this? My delivery packages have come, and that was my intercom. Sorry. But I also want to know what it is to experience deep love, to be deeply protected, to be deeply nourished. And we're not going to talk about my love life, but I can honestly say when I look back over the years, that is really one of the things that I miss the most about my grandmother, is that she was the one person who every time she saw me, she was happy to see me. That woman loved me. Okay. I was her favorite grandchild. This was not a secret, and she didn't mistreat the others, but I was her baby. And you miss having that sort of love in your life. And so I would like to experience that again. Obviously not from my grandma, God rest her soul, but it would be wonderful to experience that level of deep nurturance and care and what it is to be precious to somebody. And so when you think about your own life, what do you want to experience? What types of emotions do you want to experience? Do you want to experience deep joy, deep love? Do you want to experience deep laughter? Do you want to have a good cry because it's been a while and it's just some stuff you need to get off your chest? Like, what do you want to experience? Do you want to experience what it is to be in companionable silence with somebody, where you don't have to fill up the room with small talk and performance? What do you want to experience? Because every day of your life is a new opportunity to have a new experience with some aspect of your life that is neglected, overlooked, or unexplored. And so if you want some more guidance with this, I actually created a guidebook. It's called The Bar, which stands for Talking, Hobbies, Experiences, Body Awareness, Arts, and Reading. And this video is the third in a series, because we have talked about talking, we've talked about hobbies, this is about experiences. Our next video will be talking about body awareness and body movement and how that helps to regulate and ground us, because this framework was what I created to keep me sane when all of the craziness started happening in our political landscape. And it's overwhelming and it's too much. And if you don't have a strategy in place to kind of ground yourself, you can absolutely be spiraling down the drain of doom and despair. But I'm not. And I'm not being a Pollyanna. I'm not hitting you with toxic positivity. I'm saying there are things that you actually have to do to intentionally shield and insulate yourself from the emotional toll that these events can take. So If you want that, I will put a link to that guidebook in the description, along with a promo code that you can use in order to get a discount on that. And the next part of the series, we are going to be talking about the body, body awareness and body movement, and how that helps to regulate your nervous system, and also is a really powerful strategy to help navigate all of the chaos that is happening around us. So if you're not already, make sure that you like, share, subscribe. I would love to have you along for this 100-day journey, because I'm posting a video every single day for the next 100 days. Some of them will be long form like this. Some of them will be short. Most of them will actually be long form like this. But on the days that I'll be traveling, because I'm going skiing, there will be shorter form videos because I don't have all of my equipment and things like that. But thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Peace.